So the other day we did a video where we reacted to some facts or statistics about World War One, and so many people in the comment section said, "Favour, now you need to react to The Fallen of World War Two, a video by Neil." I don't have my glasses on. Neil Holleran. Let's get into it. Subscribe if you're new here. Like the video. I've never been nervous to film a video. Actually, I'm nervous every time I film a Eurovision video because I know what y'all are going to say. But I've never felt like scared to film a video until now. But y'all said this is an important video, so let's get into it.
The average lifespan of an American is 80
2015.
years. And an 80-year-old today was 10 when World War II ended, 4 when it began.
So they're still alive, basically.
A soldier who saw battle would have to be in his late 80s at least today. Generals, political leaders, the decision makers of the war, few are still with us. And over the past few decades, we've seen authors and filmmakers rush to capture stories from survivors before this connection of memory is lost.
Oh my god. Because the Holocaust survivor videos always...
This project is not about individual war stories, and it's not about survivors. We're going to tally up the tens of millions of people whose lives are cut short by the war,
Tens of
and
millions.
see how these numbers stack up to other wars in history, including trends in recent conflicts.
This is a big part of why I was interested in this also, and just like the historical reactions right now. The video we watched said World War One was only the 6th deadliest war. Now I know this is about World War Two, but for World War One to already have millions and millions and millions of people die and still only be the 6th most like death toll wise, what are the other 5 is my question.
We'll be counting soldiers and civilians separately.
The civilian number is
Each of
going to
these
be
figures
so high.
represents 1,000 people who died. Civilians were of all walks of life, whereas military deaths were almost entirely men. The average age was about 23.
Oh my god.
In most battles, for every 1,000
I'm
soldiers
24!
killed, there are more than 1,000 who were injured. The word casualty can be confusing because in military speak, it often includes both deaths and injuries, and anything else that takes a soldier out of service. Here, we're just counting the deaths, and we'll begin with American soldiers. Over 400,000 died.
I'm just thinking of like why World War II even happened. It puts into like modern times and thinking about back then and modern times and like the hoopla that's been going on in regards to Hitler. And I'm thinking of Kanye West, Trump, all this other stuff. While now knowing over 400,000 U.S. military men died for that. We're not even getting into like the barbaricness of it, the science experiments.
Over 400,000 died. Most of the deaths occurred in the European theater, fighting the Nazis. And about a quarter were in the Pacific, fighting the Japanese. When you put them on the timeline, you see that casualties were the heaviest at the end of the war.
That's when we dropped the
war
bomb
began
in
on
Japan.
September 1st, 1939. But the U.S. wasn't willing to join the fight until Pearl Harbor, 2
when
years
we
in.
like had to, basically. It directly affected us at
Deaths
that
increased
point.
drastically on D-Day, when the Allies invaded Normandy.
Isn't that like, we got to look up the history of D-Day. Now, I remember learning about it in school, but that was, again, years ago. I just remember something about a beach, and it was just really hard for them to get to the adversary, basically, the ops, if you will.
One of the most tragic moments of the war was on D-Day at Omaha Beach.
The beach!
2,500 Americans fell. So about the same number of US soldiers died on this single beach landing as the entire 13 years of the recent war in Afghanistan.
God. Yeah, D-Day, first of all, we need to learn more about it, but D-Day, terrible day. He just said the same amount of people that have died over a decade died on that one day. And that's like another thing. World War II wasn't just a battle. It was years of all these casualties going on.
The bloodiest battle in the Pacific was Okinawa, which lasted 82 days, during which 12,500 Americans died.
12,000 people. You got one life.
5,000 of these deaths were at sea from kamikaze attacks.
What's a kamikaze attack?
Now let's look at some other countries, starting with Europe.
Okay. It's literally a world war. Because I was like, America! This is even how a lot of people think nowadays. Like, we need to mind our damn business. But at that point, you could not ignore what was happening. And a lot of people were saying that I shouldn't have the perspective of a right versus wrong or a right side versus a wrong side, especially in regards to World War I. But I think it is undeniable, with World War II at least, that there was a right and there was a wrong. And I think the United States should have got involved sooner. It's just sad that so many of our citizens and military men had to die for a war that wasn't even like on our own shores, but it was a war against humanity at that point with what was going on with the Nazis. And honestly, what was Japan's problem? Obviously they were like probably allies with Germany, but damn, what was their issue with us especially? We gotta look up the history there.
Germany started World War II when it invaded Poland. Poland ultimately lost 200,000 soldiers in the war. Most died after the invasion while the country was occupied by Germany and the Soviet Union.
They died after?
Died after the invasion while the country
Wait, what?
They started World War II when it invaded Poland. Poland ultimately lost 200,000 soldiers in the war. Most died after the invasion while the country was occupied by Germany and the Soviet Union. Germany, meanwhile, lost just 16,000 in the invasion of Poland. The Nazis went on to invade.
This reminded me of what
conquer
Russia's
other
doing now to
countries, including
Ukraine.
Denmark, Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Greece, and Yugoslavia. France surrendered, but after losing 92,000 soldiers in the Battle of France. Over 200,000 ultimately fell, which includes deaths in POW camps, French colonies, and other fighting. Yugoslavia suffered almost 500,000 military deaths. The initial invasion brought relatively few casualties on both sides. But the deaths mounted under Nazi occupation due to guerrilla fighting, civil conflict, and mass executions.
Motherfuckers. I'm so sorry to curse. But I can't get over the fact, like, it's one thing for all these deaths to happen during the fight and the invasion and actual battle of Germany trying to come in, but the fact that a lot of these deaths are after. Like, why did you come? What, you just wanted the land? Like, what about the people? What was there even thinking? What were they thinking? I don't get it. A majority of the people this video is saying died after the invasions. So you didn't, like, why did you want the land? Like, why did you want to go there if you didn't care about the people too? Or if you didn't even want to assimilate them to German culture? Like, thinking of American history, when Christopher and all his bogus ass people came over here and took the land from the Native Americans, they also forced, obviously, the Native Americans to assimilate to their culture too. That I just can't fathom just needlessly slaughtering people. It's so ridiculous. And did Germany never question, wait, is this right?
With relatively few German losses. Even the Nazi commanders expressed surprise.
Like, how do they do all this? And
then we have
everywhere.
the United Kingdom and the United States, who were not invaded, but took the fight to the Nazis. Britain lost about the same number of soldiers as the US, which includes the British colonies.
And I know I always take the piss with the UK subscribers because y'all can cry a lot sometimes in my comment section. But at the end of the day, I like our relationship in, like, politics and real life.
Germany lost about 500,000 soldiers fighting the US and Britain in what is known as the Western Front, which took place in France and Belgium.
But then again, these are probably young German men that didn't want to be there either, and they had to die for it.
But most Nazi soldiers died in the Eastern Front. Germany's unsuccessful invasion of the Soviet Union,
which is now Russia, right?
Are staggering.
Jesus Christ, though.
The most famous battle of the Eastern Front, and perhaps the turning point of the European War, was Stalingrad. The German 6th Army successfully took Stalingrad, but then got surrounded by the Soviets and cut off from food and ammunition. 500,000 Nazis would ultimately die in Stalingrad.
From starvation and
Another
cold?
100,000 were taken prisoner, of which 6,000 would ever return.
No, that's kind of crazy. I know the Nazis ain't shit, but that's a bit crazy. 100,000 captured, only 6,000 live. What happened to literally almost 94,000 plus people? At the end of the day, even though their rhetoric and leader is a piece of shit, they're still people.
POWs had a low survival rate throughout World War II, and it was particularly grim in the East. When you include these POWs, roughly the same number of Germans died in Stalingrad as all the Western Front fighting against France, the UK, and the US.
It's like a double-edged sword. You can have empathy, but at the same time, it's like,
they suffered
you started
almost
this.
Twice as many losses as Germany.
Oh, dang. Russia and Germany.
The Soviet Union would eventually defeat the once unstoppable German army, killing 2.3 million Nazi soldiers.
Those are all people!
But winning the war came at a cost.
Oh my god, this is actually kind of hard to watch. Like, it makes it real. Oh, and it's still going. Oh my god. Just to defeat the German army. How many people were in their population?
8.7 million is the official tally by the Russian military, a hotly disputed number. Some studies have calculated as many as 14 million dead.
That's fucking crazy. Just from the Soviet Union alone, 14 million, estimated 8 to 14 million dead.
To complete the count of European military deaths, we need to add German deaths from other fronts, including the North and Africa.
Africa?
As well as deaths from other Axis powers allied with the Nazis: Hungary, Romania, and Italy. When you put these European military deaths on the timeline, it looks like this. You can now interact with the chart to learn more. Pause the narration if you would like more time. And now we switch to civilian deaths.
No. Woo! Oh, it's bad enough to see the soldiers. Now we got to talk about the women and children and probably the healthcare workers who were just there to help the injured or make sure people are okay. People who didn't even want to be involved at all. Oh my god. 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 Please.
Six million Jewish people were killed in the Holocaust.
Just for being Jewish.
If you separate this by country, you see that about half, 2.7 million, were Polish.
Poland.
700,000 were Soviets, followed by Hungary and 17 other countries.
Like, fuck you. my God. Like, the impact that you have now inflicted on generations, on the entire world, on history. For what? And I'm talking about Hitler, I'm talking about Nazis, I'm even talking about fascists of today. Disgusting. Not even human.
And 17 other countries. Broken down another way, about half of the 6 million were killed in the concentration camps. Over 1 million died in Auschwitz. Most were killed in the gas chambers. Others died from starvation, exhaustion, disease, and other forms of execution. The second most deadly camp was Treblinka, which was exclusively an extermination camp.
Fuck. I've never heard of Treblinka, and he just said it's that's literally just, they just send them there to die. Like, Auschwitz, you hear about Auschwitz all the time. But Treblinka, second most deaths on the list, is literally just an extermination camps.
Others died from starvation, exhaustion, disease, and other forms of execution.
What about the women who were pregnant? What about the kids who were disabled or the elderly? They just shipped off to Treblinka.
The second most deadly camp was Treblinka, which was exclusively an extermination camp, set up to look like a train station.
They couldn't even show like what you were actually doing. If you're gonna do something barbaric, bitch, stand on it and do it wholeheartedly. Why disguise it like a train station? Cowards.
Deadly camp was Treblinka, which was exclusively an extermination.
I'm getting mad.
Set up to look like a train station. Mobile killing groups killed 1.4 million Jews.
Mobile killing groups. No. Okay. Oh my God. What the... Yeah, I gotta go. I'm sorry, y'all. And I know people... I feel like crying right... That's too far. Too much. It's too much. I gotta go.